Okay, cool. So we've been waiting for Roland for a long time. This topic here is something that every single person in the room should be looking at and building. Obviously, for reasons that I was telling Roland, who saw the one Shark Tank where the guys with the T-shirts, the home guy, the guy who was like home, and he had like he's killing it on Facebook, and it's all about. Like it was pictures of every state, and then he just put home, and he was just selling them on Facebook. And they were like, you don't have a real business. This is just an offer, and da 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 da. And Roland and I were just chuckling. So anyhow, long story short, he didn't get funded, and he probably did get ripped off like 20 times after that Apprentice or Shark Tank thing. What's that?
I said while it was on, he was getting ripped off.
Yeah, I know. People were like, that is such a good idea, you know. Anyhow, Ro and I were talking about like, well, what if he had a media platform or had his own media site that he controlled and owned and was getting traffic, and they'd be way more interested in communicating with them. So yesterday, Roland said he thinks that we're doing it all wrong, and that he and then there's a better way to do it. So no pressure, but we're all willing to hear it, sir. Let's give it up for Roland. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's how many of you have an authority site now where you post content regularly and have visitors come regularly? Just a few, right? Okay. I want at the end of this, I've done my job if I've convinced you that you should have one and you decide that you're going to do this. How many people have had a Facebook or Google account shut down or an ad denied because of subject matter? Right? Almost everybody. And when that happens, you are out of business if your only business is advertising on Facebook or advertising on Google. And I was talking with Ed about it. It's kind of interesting that in the real world, we have physical stores that people come to and have the chance to browse around and interact with staff and find out if there's stuff that they like. And experiential stores are really doing well, like the Bass Pros and Cabela's and things like that. Cabela's is a whole different subject. But if you've got no place for them to go, and all you've got is a couple of landing pages or a couple of offers, then if something happens in the world that causes the other media to go away, you end up with nothing. And you also miss the opportunity to have them come and look around and spend time and develop a relationship with you and then buy more stuff from you. So if you've got an authority site, all that changes. You have a place for them to come. You have a place where you can segment them. You have a place where, as the things that they're interested in change, like if it's just a site about gut health, right? If that's all it is, then for the moment in time that they're interested about that, then they'll come and spend time and they'll go away. But if you don't have something broader that is more like wellness or around a topic that somebody that's interested in gut health might be interested in, then you've lost them once that momentary interest in that one particular thing ends. So think about the advantages to building a place where nobody can deny the ads. You get to decide what ads are going to be run. Think about a way to do business where you'll always get approved on Google or Facebook or whatever media you want to advertise on to drive people back to home, because all you have to do is advertise content that people are interested in. Content that you know they'll be interested in because data tells you that people are interested in it. That's what I want to convince you of. And there's a whole bunch of stuff, by the way, if you want to, like the how-to, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on because it's tedious to tell you how to be a SEMrush ninja, right? But if you go to my SlideShare, I've got a 7,000-word report on exactly how step-by-step to do the data side of this. There's a webinar I just did with SEMrush last week. You can go and watch that. And I've got another one coming out on how to use filters and stuff like that. But all that, to me, is just the how-to, and I don't even think any of you should really be doing it, but somebody should. I just happen to find it interesting. But I want to talk about native commerce and as it applies to the supplement industry, right? So all native commerce is an evolution of the newspaper, right? The newspaper exists. The authority site is the newspaper. You run ads, and then the people who are on your site can buy. And what's cool is about native commerce, I think, is that you can own both. You can own the ads under a different brand, and you can own the newspaper under a different brand. And the perfect example of this we talked about at Traffic and Conversion was Thrill List buying Jack Threads. Thrill List aggregated the attention of a bunch of men, I think 18 to 24 or 18 to 34, something like that. And then they built from 2 to 4 to 8 million. And then they bought the clothing company Jack Threads. Did not change the brand name of Jack Threads to Thrill List Wear, right? They kept the brand name, and then sales 2 years later were $100 million. So that's the power, I think, of doing this. And you guys, hopefully all of you know what we do at Digital Marketer. We drive millions of people. We have multiple authority sites. We had about 4 million unique views last month, and that's growing. And we have a lot of new properties that we're incubating right now. So we've done this a lot. But think about if instead of owning a bunch of offers and landing pages, you owned Life Extension, right? And you had 1.3 million visitors. Or you own Natural News, Ed talked about yesterday, and you had 5.2 million visitors. Or Health.com, 7.9, or better yet, Bodybuilding.com with 26 million. If you have these kinds of sites, then you really have a lot of power, because you're building email lists which have value and which you can rent, and Dave can help you do that, or people like at the Wayland Agency, right? And we make about, I think organically on Survival Life, email list rentals are about $144,000 a month for us. So there's a lot of value there, but then you've got people who are coming to the site, and everyone who comes to the site gets pixeled, like Tanner talked about for retargeting. And we've found, and I'll show you, everybody that comes to our site for survival is worth about 33 cents. So just driving people to the content of the site, just because they showed up, they're worth 33 cents to us, right? So the more people we can drive, the better. And then you still have all kinds of other sources of income. As a matter of fact, I just read an article about a lady that started a fashion blog a couple years ago who now has been approached by a major brand to do a line of cosmetics. And she's been approached by retail stores to go into the retail stores too. So instead of you having to go and beg, put my supplements in Walmart and Target, where they've had some challenges recently, right? They will come to you and say, hey, you already have this cool property that already exists, and you've got a whole bunch of people coming to it, and we want to, as a brand, get in front of your audience, and we want to have you create products for us. That's a big, big difference, and it's a bigger game than, I think, just having 1 or 2 products. So Ryan said at TNC, media is anything that aggregates the attention of a definable market segment at a specific location at a predictable time, right? That's all these things that we're talking about are. And there's a life cycle to them. And this is from our funnels, our content marketing certification program that we just launched last week. But it tells you all of, and you guys will have these slides, so, and a couple of the tools I'll show you too. So, but it just shows you that different goals and objectives can be had at the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel, and you don't have the opportunity to do that if you're just running an offer. You have a funnel, but you don't have the ability to have the continuity of having the people's interest, right? So this is kind of what it boils down to too, is so the Facebook ads and the Google Display Network and the drops that you do and everything else, those are the outposts, but you still always got home base that people can come to. And that's the magic, I think, of having the authority site. So you have all of the things that you heard about throughout this entire couple of days that you've been here, Facebook and all the different places that you can drive content, that you can drive traffic from, going to content. The content gets cookied with a retargeting pixel, and then we run it on whatever social channels. So basically, we're coming from here to here, back out to here again, and then back to buy. And it's just a constant cycle of that, right? But the other thing that you get when you have a media property is you really get to hyper-segment your market and find out exactly what they're interested in. So as they look at different content, the way that we do it is we change the slug, the actual URL, on every page, and we have 15 in one of our sites, 15 different kinds of content, right? So in the supplement business, maybe you've got some people that are interested in gut health, and some people that are interested in weight loss, and some people that are interested in muscle gain, and some people that are interested in fat burning. And so you have a slug on every article that's related to one of those particular topics, because there are going to be several, that ends with fat burning, right? That ends with that particular category. Now you're segmenting everybody based on what they're reading, and instead of only having the opportunity to show them one offer and then guess what upsell might be appropriate, you can show them an upsell that's dynamically determined, and you can retarget dynamically and rotate the different offers that they're interested in. So if gut health guy is interested in fat burning, right, and then goes out to another site, you can rotate fat burning and gut health ads based on the behavior that they've had on your site. Does that make sense? It's really, really a big deal, because you can stay with them as their interests change. And if they come back to your site and start reading different things, or they start reading only about fat burning, then let's show them fat burning offers, because we're showing them dynamically what their interest tells us, the data, again, right? What the data tells us that we ought to be showing them offer-wise. And what you end up with is all these retargeting lists. So this is just a slice of retargeting lists from one of our sites, and there's lots of people on them, 200,000, 182,000, 156,000, right? Lots and lots of people. And the more they come back to your site too, the more you get to repixel them, so your 6 months that you have to go and chase them around continues to renew all the time. And you effectively have all these big email lists that aren't email lists, that they didn't opt into, but have 100% delivery because you know that they can be displayed. It's actually, we were talking about this too, we pay about $500,000 a year for our email platform, right? And we send about 1 billion emails, but we have to pay $500,000 to do that. So the retargeting cost can actually be less expensive to us than email, right? Which a lot of us think of as being free. And one of the big things I think that's important is to really, really understand keywords. And I will challenge most of you to tell me how much time and how carefully you've researched your keywords. There is a guy named SEO Nick who offers a program. It's $127. It's called Master Keyword Research. I think none of you should go through it, but you should all buy it and give it to whoever's going to do your keyword research. He will do it for you. He charges $3,000. It would totally be worth it. But what you'll find by going through this way, and this is really deep research and pivot tables and all kinds of stuff that you don't want to spend your time doing. I happen to find it incredibly interesting. But
Is
definitely.
It called Master Keyword Research?
It's called Master Keyword Research, SEONick.com. And it's a fantastic program. I'm sorry? Is it .net? Yep, you're right. So the goal then is, how can you build a really strong base of content? And this is just drilling down. We found that one of our keywords was paracord, which you wouldn't really know in the survival market unless you happen to know that paracord was big, right? So then we do paracord, and there's all these keyword terms with high search volume, and we build a pillar post around that one particular topic, and then we have our little supporting posts from all the other words, all the other search words that come under it. So we've got paracord as our pillar, and then we've got paracord bracelet projects and a whole bunch of other things underneath that. And that's how you build strong SEO into your site at the page level. And all the authority from all these things that people are looking for on the lower support levels will go up to the harder to rank keyword like paracord itself, and then you'll end up ranking for that. And I mean, it's not terribly different than you've done for years and years and years if you've been doing SEO, except now there's so much data that's available to tell you exactly what all those things should be, right? And this is a tool, which this is just an Excel spreadsheet, which I'll call a tool, that you guys are welcome to have. I'll give it to Ed, and it's how we plan our pages around the support and pillar posts. And then it's creating content. And so we had a conversation just yesterday about other people's content, and is it evil and wrong and bad, and you haven't done it because you feel like, that's kind of stealing from other people maybe, but you're not sure. So I think curated content for us has outperformed consistently the original content that we've created at a significantly lower cost of creation, right? Curated content doesn't take long. So I'm going to show you a bunch of ways to create great content, and you'll see that we always do attribution back to whoever created the original content, which means all of our traffic is exposed to their site where they created the original content. So I think it helps them. So that's kind of my argument for it. Always attribute, right? But And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on these. And again, the detailed stuff is, we have posts on it and everything. But find a popular video from an expert, embed it in your site, and then have a reaction, right? This is the Holyfield, this is the Holyfield Pacquiao fight. And I think Holyfield's a jerk, and here's why. And then you'll have all kinds of comments. But easy to find. Compile a list of stats that other people have done, and then comment on it. Do interviews. Compile interesting quotes from different people. Ask 3 experts the same question, and then aggregate it, and then very good chance that they will send out this post to all of their people, giving you all kinds of traffic. Do lists and viral posts. And again, like I said, if you go to the slide shares that I've got, the detail on how to do all this is there. I'm really much more interested in you deciding that you need to do this. Find top performing YouTube videos with millions of views, embed them, link to the original video. You can cut them up into screenshots and then link out to the original video. Round up posts, which are the 26, 36, 25 ideas things. Drew talked about that a little bit. Linking out again to the original things. And then how do you keep track of it all? We use just an Excel spreadsheet, and so we've got what you can't see, unfortunately, and it wouldn't let me screen capture it, is these are all drop-down boxes. So the blog, the post type there are 53 different kinds of post types, and I'll give them all to you. And there are 4 different ways to present each of those, thereby giving you 212 different kinds of things you can put on your blog, right? So you do one, you can repurpose it into 4 different formats, and you end up with 4 times as many. So this is a drop-down, and again, you guys can have this. There's a drop-down of all the different kinds of posts. Then there's the vehicle of what we're going to do. Is it going to be an infographic, a video, or whatever? It's going to, and then we're going to have the category, which we're going to have determined from our keyword research. And then there's going to be what offer is associated with the post, because we always want there to be an offer, whether it's an exit offer or an offer in the middle or something. Where is it going to drive people down into the funnel based on where they started out? And then the headline. That's it. And when we use, well, actually, I think I'll talk about this next. So here's our infographic of all the different blog posts, okay? And again, you guys can have this. It's all the different kinds of blog posts that you can do. And what you end up from doing this is ranking for a whole bunch of keywords for one piece of content that people are searching for. So this one is 36 paracord projects for preppers. For us, it's 80,450 combined search volume for 487 keywords that all rank on page 1, okay? Now, the article that I'm going to publish next week will show you how to take all of these, because I'm just doing the case studies now and I've got enough data to do it, to determine what are all the keywords that you're ranking 3 to 10 for, and how do you move them up into 1 and 2, where the number of clicks is significantly higher. And it's a really cool way to do that.